Whether you're hitting the road or kicking back in the cab, it's time to take a load off with Big Rig Banter. Powered by AllTruckJobs.com, your source for finding the trucking jobs drivers really want. Get ready to shift into gear and let the conversations roll.
Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Big Rig Banter. For our episode, lucky number 7, we're going to be covering the recent Great American Trucking Show, that's GATS for all of you insiders, in none other than Dallas, Texas.
That's right. AllTruckJobs.com had a blast in the Lone Star State, but now we're back in Lancaster, PA to recap some of the GATS highlights.
Indeed, there were hundreds of exhibits and a ton of great events, so we did struggle to cover as much of this show as we possibly could. For those of you who may not be familiar with what GATS is, it's basically the largest national trucking show there is, featuring just about every aspect of the transportation industry, from the newest trucking technology to the commercial driving lifestyle and so much more, really.
Yeah, Connor and I were actually at a marketing conference in Philadelphia during GATS. However, we did have our in-the-field reporter, Rachel Falkenroth, getting the lowdown on what people thought of GATS. Let's take a listen.
So we're here from Big Rig Banter at GATS 2017 in Dallas, and I'm here with
Vicki Burr.
Vicki Burr. Well, it's very nice to meet you, Vicki.
Nice to meet you too,
Yeah.
Rachel.
Yes, thank you. So how long have you been in the trucking industry? I know you said you just retired, but how long have you worked?
Since 1978.
Oh, wow. Awesome. So what got you started interested in driving?
Honestly, don't know. I just saw a truck go by and it was pretty, and I said, okay, that's what I want to do.
Oh, that's awesome. It's nice just to know.
Long time ago.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's great. Okay. So is this your first GATS?
No, this is like number 5.
Okay, so have you seen anything interesting, new technologies this year that you're excited about?
Well, I was just over looking at the ELDs and trying to get some information for my company for their maintenance department.
Oh yeah, so you said you're in safety and recruiting right now, that's correct?
Safety and compliance.
Safety and compliance, awesome. So you're liking that, how's the transition, how's that different? Are you enjoying it?
Yes, I love it. The trucker in me still comes out. And working with mostly men, it's fine. You got to be able to hold your own.
It's great to get women out there too.
Thank you. I drove for 26 years and had a little over 3 million accident-free miles before I came out of it.
That's incredible. So I'm here with James. Is that correct, James?
Anna Moore, my wife.
Oh,
From
nice
Thailand.
to meet you. From Thailand.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. How long ago did you move here?
How long?
6 months.
6 months, yeah.
6 months.
We just got married.
Oh, congratulations. That's so exciting.
And we come to America from overseas. She did. And I'm showing her the country from behind the windshield of a truck.
Wow, that's so exciting. Do you love it so far? You like driving around?
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Well, hey, so here at GATS, are you from Dallas?
We're from Dallas, yes.
From Dallas. Very exciting. Okay, so is this your first time here at GATS?
It's my first time here, yeah. I'm not really new at truck driving, but I've driven trucks off and on all my life. And I just got my authority, and I'm fixing to get me a truck and a trailer, and that's partly the reason why I'm here today. Yeah.
Okay, so some big plans for the future.
Yes, ma'am.
Very nice. Okay, so how are you liking it so far? Are you finding what you need to find?
Yes,
here?
I am.
Yeah?
I am. We've already had to go to the car to unload all the bags for all the free stuff.
It's always nice getting all the free stuff.
Yes,
That's
it is.
my favorite part about
And talk
Expo.
to all the wonderful interviewers, too.
Oh, well, thank you. I get to talk to all the wonderful truckers.
Well,
yeah.
thank you.
So I'm here with, what's your name, sir?
Andre.
Andre. All right, Andre's here. Have you been to GATS before?
Oh, yes, every year.
Every year. Wow. How long have you been a driver?
18 years. 18 years. Over the road, but I've been hauling frac sand now for like 10 years.
Okay, awesome. So how did you get started in the trucking industry?
Got tired of sitting on my butt and wanted to make some money, so I could do both and drive a truck.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. You found your calling.
Exactly.
So I'm here with Rick, that's correct?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So is this your first time at GATS, Rick?
No.
No? All right. How many years have you been coming here?
10.
At least 10. At least 10.
At least 10. That's awesome. So
Every year.
yeah.
Since we've been together 15 years. So.
Wow. Okay. How long have you been in the trucking industry?
Since 99, July of 1999. So it'll be 18 years.
Wow. What kind of driver are you? Are you owner-operator, company driver?
Operator.
Owner-operator. Okay. Very cool. Where are you based out of?
Out of Dallas.
Oh, okay, so this is, an easy go-to. Come here to GATS and check everything out. Yeah? Are you interested in checking out the talent show later today? 3 to 5?
Maybe. A talent show?
Yeah, I think they're having, singers this year. And
I can't do that.
No. You didn't apply for it, no?
No, absolutely not. They would kick me out of here.
Yeah. What's the most exciting new technology that you've seen?
What is it? The ELDs, electronic logging device.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they updating that? I've heard some things in the trucking community that they're kind of tricky, hard to work with, and so you've seen some cool updates that they're making?
Yeah. Well, no, it's a lot easier with the one that I saw. It's real easy. So.
Yeah. Okay.
If it comes to about, then we'll be good.
Yeah. So I just want to ask first, what's your name?
Well, my stage name is Rocky Top,
Okay.
and everybody in country music knows me as Rocky Top, but my real name is Robert Webb. I'm related to Loretta Lynn and Crystal Gale.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm here with Robert, and I want to ask, too, you told me a little bit before we started the interview, but who do you work for, and what do you drive?
I drive, I own 3 trucks, tractor-trailer rigs. I'm the only driver. I work with the federal government, hauling USPS mail, United States Postal Service mail. I work with TNT Enterprises of Ohio, and I own web delivery service and contract haulers myself, my own company. I have my own authority. I've been in trucking a long time. I learned how to drive tractor-trailer rigs at the age of 12 years old by my uncles who used to own Anderson Web Transportation out of Mount Airy, North Carolina. And then I love writing and singing and playing music. I sure do.
So these expos are great where you can really just go out, meet new people, face to face, get some information on some new trucking technology, anything like that.
All right, so a lot of interesting characters there, some cool feedback on the event overall. Seemed like everybody had a little something different to say. I mean, it was a large convention, so really it's hard to hit everything, Hundreds of exhibits around there, people just walking around getting free stuff, I know is the highlight of a lot of people's times at GATS. I mean, there was a free beer stand. We had flashlights people loved. You can get T-shirts, lanyards, pretty much anything. You just kind of stroll around there, and there you have it.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. But when Rachel came back to us from reporting in the field, she was telling us a lot of people were really interested in these ELDs. And I know last episode we talked extensively about ELDs, and we actually have a pretty interesting sound clip from a visitor, Greg, who was there, and he was actually a manager for a trucking fleet, and he was looking for the right ELD for 65 trucks. So here's that clip.
All right, so I'm here with Greg today. This is his first time at GATS. So how are you liking GATS so far?
I'm having a pretty good time. It's 10 a.m. here. Already had a beer. Enjoying myself.
Nice. That's the way to start it. I mean, that's the way to start your morning. Breakfast, beer, walking around, checking it all out. Who do you work for, and how long have you been in the business?
I work for BT Trucking. I'm relatively new. I've been in the business for about 3 years now.
Okay, awesome. So, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you? You have a very young face, so I'm very curious. You're already a manager?
Yeah, I'm 27 years old.
27. Wow, that's very cool. So, did you grow up just in the trucking industry, trucking business? How'd you get into it?
Yeah, I had some family that was in it, and I got in early, working, just helping out fleet managers initially, like almost as a receptionist. I was doing that, and it's worked my butt off, and now I'm here.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, hard work always pays off. So I did want to ask, too, did you see anything around at the booth, any new technology that you're excited for as a fleet manager to see kind of introduced in the trucking world?
Well, I'm being forced on electronic logging devices right now, and I'm trying to find the best provider. And, and this is probably a good place to, I've been looking at different providers, Omnitrax, Big Road, PeopleNet, Keep Trucking, Fleetmatics, and trying to like dwindle it down to the actual decision. And I have a fleet of about 65 vehicles, and I need to start making the decision soon. So I've been going around. I do like what Keep Trucking showed me. It looks like their solution's very easy to use, and I looked on their app store. They have 4.8 out of 5 stars. So, and I looked at it, and I see how many reviews they actually have, and they have 14,000 reviews. So, and I read through like 20 to 25 of them, and drivers just like the easy use. So, I would say to any other fleet managers, drivers that are looking for electronic logs, because I know this is, the mandate's right around the corner. Take a look at Keep Trucking. I think that's where I'm going to go. So,
would you say that's one of the biggest complaints from your drivers, the EDLs, or are there other? Yeah.
They don't want to change, and they're some are adapted to technology, but most of them aren't. So they want something easy to use, and that's not going to burden them further. So that's why I want something easy to use for them.
Simple, straightforward.
So that was Greg speaking to us, and he gave a lot of good feedback. I think this is something that those in the ELD market can really take note of. The fact that he read lots of reviews before he made a decision. I don't know if he had decided yet. It'd be cool to follow up and see who he's gone with at this point. But he looked online. He tried to see what other people were writing about these companies and actually talk to them in person. And that's just something to keep in mind, because it is going to be such a competitive market for makers of ELDs moving forward. He said it was kind of being forced upon him, and that's a lot of what fleet managers and truckers are feeling in general. But it did sound like a lot of people were starting to change their mind and perspective on the whole ELD debate. They were kind of a little more open to the fact that it's really more convenient and more efficient and can provide some safety benefits as well. So that's kind of interesting to know that people are hopefully softening up to the idea, because it's somewhat of an inevitability at this point. But hopefully that's a positive takeaway from all of this.
For sure. And it's just like any product. It's something you want to do research, and really it's a big investment. So make sure to look online, get some reviews, even get some recommendations from drivers who have already implemented these ELDs.
And if you want to learn more about ELDs and sort of the regulations and what's going on with them right now, you can check out our last episode, episode 6. There'll be a link, I'm sure, in the sidebar or below this episode, wherever you're listening to it, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and YouTube, of course. It's all there for you. So be sure to, head back into our older episodes there, because why not? They're free. It doesn't hurt. And speaking of podcasts, we actually had the chance to interview Todd McCann, who runs his own podcast called Trucker Dump. I think it should be called Toddcast, but he was able to tell us some of his favorite things about GATS.
Yeah, and Todd was someone we've interacted with on Twitter lately. He's been a big fan of our podcast and willing to promote it and give us some feedback, and we really appreciate it. He's been podcasting for quite a while now, so it was great to interact with someone who's both in the same industry and kind of using the same medium.
Okay, so I'm here with Todd McCann, and we are at GATS 2017 in Dallas. So, Todd, is this your first time at GATS?
Yep, first time. First, it's huge. I was not expecting it to be this big, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Me too. I definitely, was a little blown away. So, what's your favorite thing that you've seen so far at GATS? Have you been able to walk around a bit?
Well, the AllTruckJobs.com booth, of course, right?
Absolutely, yes.
No, there's an orange truck up there that's so tricked out. It's so freaking sweet. I got a picture as soon as I walked in the door.
Yeah. I have to go check it out. I actually haven't been down that way.
Yeah, it's right at the main entrance when you come in. You can't miss it. It's big, bright, and orange, like a freaking pumpkin.
I love it. Okay, I'll have to check it out. All right, so I want to ask too, you are a trucker, and how long have you been driving? What company do you work for, and what type of driver are you?
Well, I have been driving for 20 years, and I never reveal my company because I have a podcast, and I like to be able to vent about them if I want to.
Sure, no problem.
So, no retaliation there.
Plead in the pit?
Yeah,
All good.
but I've been a company driver for 20 years, and I did 9 of that years with my wife, who I call the evil overlord because she likes it, and it's true.
Yeah.
So she's been out for, I don't know, probably 11 of those years. So, last 11 years I've been solo. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you drive across all the 50 states, or you are just regional?
I have driven in every state, but right now I basically run east of the Rockies, which is fine with me because mountains are great when you're new in your career, but now they're just in my way.
Okay, yeah, you've seen all the sites.
They just slow me down and cause me issues in the winter. So stay away from the mountains. Yeah.
Well, hey, have you seen any new technologies here at GATS, or anything that you're excited that's coming out in the future in the trucking world?
Well, I'm overwhelmed by all the ELD stuff going on right now. It's like every other booth seems to be about electronic logs because, they're trying to make them mandatory by December, and it seems like a bag of hurt to me. So I haven't even stopped at any of the booths because I'm not sure even where to start. I'm trying to report on some stuff for my podcast, and I just don't know where to start. It's so freaking big,
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, well, awesome. Thank you for taking the time today just to answer a few questions here. We really appreciate it. And, of course, we'd love to have you on the podcast for Big Rig Banter. Yeah. So we'll have to keep in touch here. So thank you, Todd.
That sounds great. Thanks.
All right, so again, that was Todd McCann, host of the Trucker Dump podcast. If you haven't checked his out, go give it a listen. It's on iTunes and anywhere podcasts can be found. One of the cool things that he mentioned that's really popular at GATS is the Pride and Polish. That's what that orange truck he was describing was a part of. And we actually got the chance to talk to Suzanne Stepenski, who organizes the Pride and Polish event. And this is that interview.
This is Suzanne.
Hi, Suzanne. It's Troy from Big Rig Banter. How are you?
Hey, Troy. I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing very good. Just to start things off, what were your impressions of GATS this year? I'm sure you guys have been there previously, but what was what'd you think of this year?
You know what? I thought that the layout, which was a little different, I thought it was fabulous. The attendance was wonderful. The crowds were large and enthusiastic, and everything about it went really well.
Very cool. We did hear a lot of people saying that it was more spread out and there was a lot more room to move around, and that's what a lot of people liked about it this year especially.
Yeah, the square footage this year over last year was actually larger, but because it was spread out in a different way, it appeared even bigger. So all the exhibitors that I spoke with seemed to be really pleased about that it seemed to be driving more better traffic to their booths, and that's really what they're there for.
Mm-hmm.
But it also, just lots and lots of people turning out. So I think that attendance was up, energy was up, everybody was happy, other than being really anxious and concerned about what was going on just down the road in Houston. And my understanding is that they're going to be using, probably by now they are, a chunk of the convention center for evacuees from Houston.
Wow. So why don't you tell us more about Pride and Polish? I know that was a really popular stand over there at GATS, and I know that's something you guys have been doing for a while now.
Pride and Polish has been going on. Overdrive's Pride and Polish has been celebrating trucks and the folks who drive them for more than 26 years. And Pride and Polish has been at GATS from the very beginning. And so every year we draw in a collection of the most beautiful, most extraordinary working trucks, and some non-working, but most of them are working trucks on display and in competition. And it's always a matter of, on any given weekend, you can find a truck show somewhere in the country. In fact, some weekends you could find 2, 3, 4, or 5. Because people love the opportunity to show off their trucks, to get a little recognition, to visit with their friends, to make new friends. And so truck shows are a great way to do that. But at Pride and Polish, we really are about clean and detailed.
Mm-hmm.
It is the white glove. It is the top of the heap. It might as well be the 1% of the best of the trucking industry. And one of the wonderful things about that is it sets an example that other folks who drive truck aspire to. You know, we get great media coverage, and that always helps because our participants love to see themselves in print, on the internet. They want to see their trucks celebrated, and it's really hard to find a better way to do it. It's also the largest indoor truck show in the country. You know, most people think Dallas, August. Oh my gosh, why would anybody want to put those two words together? But we do because we bring the trucks indoors, and the guys and gals that are cleaning and polishing on them, they're welcome to stay all night the night before.
Mm-hmm.
But at least they're doing it in air-conditioned comfort as opposed to being boiled in oil outside.
Yeah. And I know you probably had a chance to walk around a little. What was some of the new technology, or maybe there was a new booth this year that you really enjoyed? I know a lot of people were talking about the ELDs, and they seem to be everywhere, but was there a new piece of technology or a new stand that kind of unveiled that really caught your eye?
Honestly, I'm so busy taking care of the Pride and Polish trucks that when I do have an opportunity to walk through parts of the show,
Mm-hmm.
it's generally because I'm in a hurry to get to somewhere that I really need to be. And so I don't get to absorb as much of it as I'd like. I do know there's a lot of conversation about ELDs. I do know that the folks at OOIDA, you know, are vigorously opposing it, and so they were actively talking to people. I saw Tony Justice, who put on a concert. You know, he had a booth where they're actively involved in trying to eliminate the mandate for ELDs. I think it's become a popular cause to rally behind, and but I don't know how far that will go. I think so far the efforts to eliminate them have been largely unsuccessful, but that doesn't mean that there isn't hope that there will be some magic rabbit in the bottom of the hat somewhere.
What would you change for next year's GATS? Is there anything you'd change or maybe add to kind of spruce things up?
I would add more beautiful show trucks. You know, I'm a little biased, but honestly, I don't think there's anything more beautiful than trucks that are clean, polished, decked out, blinged out, and the owners and drivers who bring them, they're so proud of what they do, and it's really nice. We get a great cross-section. We had some antiques. There were a couple of old B-model Macs. I wish those trucks could talk. I would love to hear the stories of where they've been and what they've seen. And then we have some older trucks. We have some newer trucks. We have some brand new stuff, some trucks that, you know, just recently came out of the shop. We have builders who take trucks and they turn them into rolling works of art. And then one of our most popular trucks, in fact, it was the People's Choice, the Trucker's Choice, was a truck that was brought by the Army Air Force Exchange. And it's really, and so the most people voted for that.
Wow.
To celebrate it as the People's Choice. And it's really nice to see our military, our men and women who serve, being celebrated and recognized as well. So they don't have the fanciest truck, but they do have one that moves people's hearts and minds.
And kind of just the final question, and I know you hit on it a little before, but we have a lot of young truckers listening that kind of just got in the industry. So what would you tell them? What would be your pitch for them to come to GATS? I know it's a big deal, and people fly all over the nation to come to it. How would you kind of get some of these younger truckers getting in the industry to come to GATS?
You know, it's an opportunity to really get hands-on, up close and personal with all the parts of the trucking industry. If you're interested in product, whether it's a new truck or a trailer, if you're interested in changing companies or figuring out what kind of product you want to load. It's all there. If you want to celebrate the best that the trucking industry has to offer, if you want to learn, if you want to take a seminar, how are the ELDs going to impact your ability to make a living? It was all there at GATS, and it'll be all there next year, bigger and better, because that's what it does. It just gets bigger and better every year. I'm not going to miss it, and I would hope that other people feel the same way. In fact, I know they do, because we visit with old friends as well as make new ones every year.
All right. Well, thank you, Suzanne. I really appreciate you taking time to talk with us on Big Rig Banter, and I will definitely keep in touch in the future. I'd love to have you on the show again when we talk about other aspects of trucking.
I would be happy to help any way I can. I've been playing on these parking lots one way or another with show trucks really for more than 22 years. So I spent 15 years as an over-the-road owner-operator, so I really am pretty passionate about the trucking industry.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, and I really appreciate you coming on.
All right. Thanks, Troy. Look forward to talking with you again soon.
All right, so that was Suzanne Stepenski, the organizer of the Pride and Polish event at GATS, a really, really popular event. And thanks again, Suzanne, for taking the time to talk to us there. So now, after we've kind of looked at the outside of the trucks, the flashy portion of the driving industry, we're going to go underneath the hood a little bit to check out a new startup company called Dock 411. And I actually had the chance to sit down with the co-founder of the company, Daniel Serowitz. So now we'll hear from him. I'm here with Daniel Serowitz. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, sir. You're one of the only ones to get that correct.
Awesome. That makes me feel good. We're off to a good start then. So Daniel is... You're the co-founder of Dock 411. Is that right? A new trucking app that's coming out?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Our whole goal with Dock 411 is to show drivers details about their stops before they make them. So things like local directions, how's the maneuverability in the lot, show them the actual dock location instead of just where the GPS takes you. Everything down to driver conveniences, like can the driver use the bathroom? And I've heard from a lot of cases they weren't very clean, so you can rate how clean they were and give drivers that go there next or yourself a reminder of how that stop went.
Awesome. That sounds super useful. How did you guys come up with the idea, and how long ago did you form the company?
So the company started a little over 2 years ago. It actually started after college. I went into warehousing and got into warehouse management. And that is when I noticed there was a problem with when drivers showed up at my facility. I worked in an older building, so I thought it was just the building, but they showed up there and didn't know what to do, didn't know what door to go to. Some of them were just lost, not even delivering to my facility, but just walking through my warehouse saying, "Can you help me find this place?" or things like that. So that kind of just raised a red flag in my head. I liked trucking and everything. I just wasn't into all the different technology that they had. So I did a ton of research and realized it's not the driver's fault. It's, there's no avenue for them to find this stuff out. They get a bill of lading with what's in their trailer, an address and a company name, and they're lucky to get a phone number. So that's when I'm like, well, I got to do something about this. So ended up quitting my day job to pursue this, and ended up partnering with a guy down the street from me. He's been in technology for 30 years or so. So I had no idea how to code and do all that stuff. So the partnership went really well. His name's Eric, and Eric and I started the company about 2 years ago. We launched the first version of the app about was it last July? We had version 1 of it come out. We took a lot of feedback from drivers. That's one of our things we pride ourselves in is taking what drivers have told us about the app and making it better, because honestly, it's for them. So we actually even have a feedback option in the app that we get feedback every day, and we meet about that feedback because we want it. We take it really seriously and put it in the app to make it better for the people who are using it.
Very cool. So you guys are a relatively new company then. And we actually ran into you down at GATS in Dallas.
Yep.
So what did you think of GATS? Was it a success for you guys as far as getting the word out about your company?
Yeah, it was. It went really well. We really enjoyed doing the shows. We had an opportunity with Dave Nemo and the satellite radio station, so we did a little thing with him, which is always great. He's really well respected in the industry. And as far as the show, we had a lot of drivers come through. It's really neat to actually see some of our power users, guys putting in docks like crazy. They stopped by, of course, like to talk with them and get their feedback. And it's really nice meeting those people in person, and then educating the drivers on what we're doing. Since it's such a new concept, it's once you break the barrier of at a trade show, another guy trying to sell to a driver, once you break that barrier, and then you tell them about what we're doing, they're like, wow, that's really cool. I didn't even know that existed. And we're like, yeah, it's here, and we have it, and it's truly for you guys. We don't charge for it. It's a free app, and it's truly for you guys to use. So the reception of the product is great, and we've only had, I think, one driver say, no, I don't see the use for that. If you can't find the place where you're going to, you don't deserve driving. We're like, easy there. But the drivers receive it really well, and it's really encouraging especially for being a new company. So
yeah, that's so great. So are there any other apps like this on the market? I know you're saying it's a relatively new concept, but maybe what's something that like you guys do specifically well?
So there are some notes in like company TMSs. Some of the trucking companies do have like a memo field in their bill of lading or their paperwork or their dispatch information that goes out to the drivers. Typically, it's siloed within that company. So, say if your trucking company has it, and then you move companies, that information doesn't go with you. With the app, you can take it anywhere, any company, anybody can download it and start adding information or viewing information. So. And typically doesn't go into detail as far as we're going actual dock location, like I said, or can the driver even use the bathroom, or was there vending machines for the driver there, to grab a snack,
right? Yeah.
Things like that. So there is some of this information out there, but it's not available industry wide. So that's why we're working with some of these trucking companies and 3PLs to get this out there. And everybody talks about a driver shortage. It's hard to find drivers. Talk to any trucking company. Let's make the industry more efficient, especially at the stops where it matters. That's where you make or break your money. You can drive there all you want, but you got to get the product off the back of your truck. So
absolutely,
that's where we're trying to speed things up. We like to say is make drivers stops faster, easier, safer, and less frustrating, because a lot of times if you know about an alley dock that's blindside, and if you know about that ahead of time, it's less of a frustration there. It's more of a challenge because you know about it. You've been told about it. A lot of drivers we talk to just don't want to be lied to, and I totally get it. It's human nature. Don't lie to me. So if they know about it ahead of time, it's a little less frustrating, and then they're not throwing the truck in gear and dumping the clutch and trying to back up through something that they don't really want to do, and just more information for everybody is always better.
Absolutely, yeah. Who can argue with that, right?
Yeah.
So, are there any changes or maybe additions you guys are looking to add to the app that you'd like to tell our listeners about?
Yeah. So, like I said, we're always taking driver feedback, and so we started with about 20 attributes about each dock. And that was just stuff I thought of and my team has thought of. We're at about 47 different attributes right now. That those 27 other ones came from drivers. And so we have another list of probably about 30 of them that we'll be adding here in the near future. Things like actually drawing a map of where the GPS leaves you off to where the dock location is, so you can see exactly the route that another driver has gone through, where the check-in location was, where the staging area was, what man door did you go to. and really just kind of lay it out for a driver exactly what to do there. Things like that are just a big convenience for them.
Right on. That's very exciting then. And so for our last question here, why should a startup or other small businesses come to GATS? I mean, what advantages do you guys see in coming to the convention there?
So getting in front of drivers is huge for us, but since we're a new concept, new company, like what we do is we have a few guys work our booth, and we walk the showroom floor and talk to all the other vendors. We try to cover a lot of the booths and just get to know what other people are doing. Some people don't know about us, and we don't know about other products there. I forgot the company name, but it was just so shocking to me. Some guy came out with a taillight for a trailer that had GPS in it. So if the trailer was stolen and there was a big black box hanging underneath it, the thief would know to cut that out and then steal the trailer.
Yeah.
They would never know about a taillight that had GPS in it. And like some of that stuff, I research trucking all the time. I do a lot of social media for Doc 411, and I see a lot of products. But when I walk the showroom floor, it's just unbelievable what people have thought of and the innovative products that are out there. And getting to know the people, the relationships we've made over the last year and a half of going to trade shows, especially GATS. Mm-hmm. It's so much fun, and to go out and have dinner with them after and really build relationships is and Dallas never disappoints. Of course, the food, the people, the culture, it's just great. And we're in Illinois, just out of Chicago, so it's way different being down there, and we have a blast every time.
Very cool. Well, Daniel, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us today. We really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll get down to GATS ourselves next year and can hang out and talk about more tech and everything.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have a great day.
You too.
All right. Again, that was Daniel Serowitz from Doc 411, a really cool new trucking app and startup company. If you get a chance, go to their website and check them out. It's definitely something that can be really useful to a lot of you guys out there on the road. And now for our final interview. I know this show has just been a kind of a carousel of different people coming through and talking to us, but that's really what GATS is all about when you get down to it. It's about interacting and trying to share what's going on in the industry. So, Troy, I know you had a pretty high-level interview, a nice finishing interview for us here today.
Yeah, I don't think it would be a complete podcast if we weren't talking with someone that had some hands-on experience over at GATS. And Emily Larson, the Director of Event Services, was behind the scenes, kind of making sure everything ran smoothly, and luckily I was able to snag an interview, and now we'll hear from her. So why don't you tell me, how long does the organization process take? I know you guys kind of are doing it all year round, really.
That's right. So really we start the moment that we're on site. So we start to look at improvements and things that we can do, really while we're on site. But a lot of that happens once we get back. We do surveys. So we want to hear from our attendees and see the things that they liked about the show, the things they'd like to see improved in the show. We do the same with our exhibitors, and we take that data and then really take a close look at the event. And we really try to do that over the next couple months so that we can have registration open in January. We look at things like, what can we add that are exciting? Like we had a couple of events this year with Progressive Commercials Roadhouse Run, and Uber Freight had a Take a Load Off party, a concert, and free food. So things that we can also add, not just to the show floor, but also things like truck parking and other events. So really it is truly a year-long process.
And how do you kind of gauge what's a hit and what's not? Like, is there a survey process, or is it just kind of seeing where people are flocking to?
Absolutely. So it is definitely surveys. We do try to see things on site, but there's a lot happening on site, so we may miss things that attendees see or exhibitors see. So we do have those two surveys, both an exhibitor survey and an attendee survey, that allows us to kind of see the things that are working well, things that we might want to change, or things that we might just be missing that we want to add to the event. So we really do try to listen to the audience and don't just make those decisions on our own. So it's definitely a big part of how we create.
Yeah, we heard a lot, just some feedback from other people. They loved that it seemed to be more spread out and open this year, and they were able to move around. That was a big thing that a lot of people were telling us when we were talking to them.
Yeah, so we did have a new layout this year. One of the reasons that we did that is we really have a desire for education and providing information that helps our audience be successful. So we added another stage to the show floor, and having a big 20-foot aisle and keeping everything on one level, I think helped people to find things easier. The aisles were shorter, so if you were looking for someone, you could get to them, and it really helped to highlight the educational options that we had as well. But yeah, we got both attendees and I think exhibitors liked the new layout, but we're always looking to improve.
And so going off that, how has it kind of developed over the years? I'm sure, it seems to grow every single year, and I'm sure it didn't initially start as big as it is.
Right. So we're actually, next year will be our 20th year. So we've been doing this for a long time and have, done a lot of different things at the event. Just more recently with kind of some new show management, we've really looked at, what's the mission for GATS? And really our desire is that we want to improve trucking. So the parent company for GATS, Randall Riley, does things in the trucking industry all year long. So we're very entrenched in the industry, so it's important for us to take care of our industry and be a good partner to our industry. So everything that we do, we try to look at, does it improve trucking? So that comes from exhibitors that we might accept on the show floor if we feel like it's something that could improve trucking, or provide a service that we think is beneficial. We try to put those people on the show floor and not put the people on the show floor that maybe don't, have that same desire to improve trucking. We add things like the health pavilion. So in the past, it may have been more about having a health pavilion and selling booth space for exhibitors that had health products. Over the last couple of years, we've developed our health pavilion to be something that provides free screenings to the drivers. We know that, hey, they're out on the road. It's difficult to get the services that they need, but they know every year they can come to GATS and they can, check their cholesterol, blood pressure, check sugar levels for potential diabetes. This last year, we actually brought in DOT physicals at a discounted rate. So what are things that we can provide that helps improve the health of our industry, either from just recognizing things that can help them, or reduced costs for services that they have to get, like DOT physicals. So those kind of things, like I said, the 2 stages, we feel like that's really a way that we can help improve trucking, is to provide information. So like this year, we had a lot of information on the ELD mandate, right?
That was
things
a huge
that are
thing.
happening. Yeah, things that are happening in our industry. So we try to look at that every year. So we had, FMCSA was there from that perspective, but you had ELD providers that were talking on the stage. You had a fleet. Crete was up there talking about how did they implement these ELDs into their, fleet. You had patrol officers that we had a session on that. So there was kind of all the aspects around that topic. So we really want to provide the education that sometimes is difficult to get about different things that are happening in the industry. And then we want to provide things like hands-on opportunities. So Discovery Pavilion is something that's kind of developed over the last couple years, and we're still trying to develop that. So we want to provide opportunities to get hands-on. Sometimes you go to a booth and it's just a salesperson there to talk to you. We're trying to educate our exhibitors in a way that makes it more interactive for the attendee. So what can you learn? Like, yes, you're trying to sell a product, but what problem are you solving for the audience, and how can you show them that or help them to see how to utilize your product in real-world applications as much as you can do that on a show floor. So we feel like the more hands-on people can get with products, it's a benefit to our audience. So improving trucking is our goal, and we're going to continue to figure out ways that we can do that.
Yeah, and I know you kind of hit on it. You pretty much answered it, but is the variety and kind of all this education and the different booths, is this why GATS has kind of become the trucking conference? I know we've met people all over. We flew in from Pennsylvania, and there's people from all over the country, and it seems like GATS is the big summer place to be.
Yeah, and I think what I hear people saying is that we're a little different, and maybe that's just because we're so connected to the industry, on a year-long basis, but we really kind of have a reputation of being a place where we're kind of bringing the industry together. So we want to create opportunities for people to network, and that doesn't necessarily just mean an attendee with an exhibitor. It can mean attendee to attendee, right? So we want to provide opportunities in a place where they can come together and network and build relationships with people. I think, our desire that we really do care. It's a matter of what can we provide that's going to be helpful. So that idea of improving, I think, is catching on. And I think everybody loves this industry. And so we want to support each other. And I think having that kind of mission statement of, hey, yes, we're a show, and at the end of the day, we do have to make a profit, but that's not our number one goal. Our number one goal is to create an environment where it improves the lives of the drivers and the people that are involved in the industry. And if we do that, then everybody succeeds. So I think there's kind of that flavor of that at the show. I think people saw that in the way that we tried to set the show floor, the things that we try to do at truck parking. Hey, we think about the fact that a driver's having to get off the road for a number of days. What can we do to make that an easier process? We know he's coming off the road. He's not making any money while he's doing that. So what can we do to help provide to make it a good experience? So we add more things at truck parking to make that simpler. Just things like that we try to do. So I think that's kind of what we've been known for and what we're trying to continue to be. And I think that really plays to people. I think the attendees see that and they say, hey, this is a place where I can go get healthier. I can get free things. I'm learning. I'm walking away with something. So trade shows are fun. You can see a lot of products. We have over 500 exhibitors. There's lots of fun activities that you can do. But if they can actually walk away with something that benefits them and makes them more successful, then our event, becomes a place that they want to be.
Yeah, and I know it's only been a few days. You're still kind of in that post-GATS hangover, but is there anything you're thinking about changing or adding for next year? I didn't know if you had a chance to kind of pull in that feedback. Is there anything that you noticed that really needs some tweaking or kind of any future plans?
Yeah, so I think one thing I'd like to see tweaked a little bit is that Discovery Pavilion. So I think just helping to educate our exhibitors of how to provide more hands-on opportunities, I think is one thing that we really want to try to continue to develop. And then I think also we know that there's drivers that are looking for jobs and ways that we can help connect them. It's difficult when you walk into a recruiting pavilion to know, okay, you have all these fleets here, but who has the job for me? So trying to figure out ways that we can better connect them. So if they're really looking for a specific job, they know who to talk to, how to do that. So we're trying to figure out additional ways that we can help connect people on that and connect them on specific things they ask us or they give us information as they register about, here are the things that I'm interested in looking at. So doing a better job for our attendees in communicating like, hey, if you're looking for a GPS, here are the people that have that product for you, or here's the session on the stage that might be talking about that. So trying to provide the information to our attendees on the things that they're looking for so they have a more successful event and get more out of it. So those are things we're already talking about, but a lot of those things also will come, like we talked earlier, from our surveys and our feedback that we get.
And just one final question. I know for our podcast, we have a lot of younger listeners who are maybe just kind of getting into the industry. Mm-hmm. But so what would your pitch to them be? Why should they make the trip to GATS? They might come from all over. I know it's a weekend, so it's a big commitment. But what would you kind of say to some of those younger truckers just getting in the industry and what GATS can offer them?
Yeah, so absolutely. We have a place for them. And I think part of that networking, right, when they get close to other people that have been in the industry for a long time that are walking the show floor, they make some connections there. And then we provide things that are helpful. Like one thing that we've been doing for a number of years is our Partners in Business sessions. So it's literally 4 different sessions that we have throughout the show that provide specific information on being successful. It could be an owner-operator or somebody maybe that wants to be an owner-operator. I mean, hardcore information where they walk away with a manual, they walk away with information that can help them to be successful. So we try to perpetuate things like that on our show. So you can find those kinds of things at our event. And if you're just starting out as a driver, especially, we do have that large recruiting pavilion, so you can get a better view in one place of the different opportunities that are available to you. So definitely there's something for someone just getting in the industry and trying to get a better understanding of what's available. A big show like this provides all of that in one place.
All right. Well, that's all I have, Emily, but I do really appreciate you coming on to kind of talk some GATS, and we're hoping that this podcast kind of grows and we'll be there and maybe do a live podcast at GATS next year. So that's kind of our big goal.
That's great. Well, we would love to have you. I'd just say for anybody that's listening, if you want to know what's happening for 2018, just keep checking truckshow.com. And as we have developments on the show, registration will be up. But as we have new things that we're adding to the event, it's a great place to find out what's going on. And we'd love to hear feedback. So there's even if you don't receive the survey or you didn't attend, but there's things that you'd like to see, there's an opportunity to contact us there. And we love the feedback because that helps us to make the event what our attendees are looking for.
All right. Well, thanks again. That's Emily Larson, the Director of Event Services for GATS, and we appreciate you coming on the show.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
So that was a lot of great information there. Really got a behind-the-scenes look at everything that goes into GATS. Thanks again to Emily Larson for taking the time to really sit down and talk with us. And, so now to close out the show, we usually do a fun topics section, but, this is a slightly different take on the regular Big Rig Banter episode format, so we figured we would just like to kind of go over what we'd like to see next year at GATS. Considering that we haven't been there yet, Troy and I think the one thing we've unanimously agreed on is that we'd like to see a Big Rig Banter booth. We'd like to see us actually there. Hopefully, if everything works out right, we'll be down there in Dallas, giving some interviews on the spot, maybe doing some video stuff, but who knows? It's a year off, so there's a lot of things a lot of moving pieces to plan out, but yeah, that's about it. Troy, any last thoughts here?
Nope. Again, I would love to be at GATS next year. It would be great to do a live podcast and, like you said, talk to some people. And I hear there's thunder rumbling, so we might see a Troy Thunder appearance as well. You never know.
Well, on that note, thanks everybody again for listening. I hope you gained some new insights and maybe feel inspired to travel down to Dallas yourself next year for the Great American Trucking Show.
I'm Troy Diffenderfer.
And I'm Connor Smith, and this has been Big Rig Banter.
Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Big Rig Banter. For your next job, check out AllTruckJobs.com, the premier online source for finding the best driver jobs in the country. Browse hundreds of positions by freight or driver type to get back on the road with confidence. Click subscribe to keep the conversations coming. Until next time on Big Rig Banter.